All right, and welcome to my vlog for ECI E32. I'm Dean Benderman, and today we're going to take a look at literacy. And yeah, I've looked up a video and then I found a web page that I'd like to basically take us through. So this video here it's really kind of interesting. It's short and sweet and to the point, but let's take a look at it. And I want to pause it along the way and make a few comments here and there. So let's take a look at this. If I can get the hit and play on it. Here we go. All right, what's the meaning of literacy? Oh, let's listen to this. All right, first off the bat, I actually watched one of these videos before, and I think it's quite interesting. It looks like they did the auto read on it, but it's interesting. Basically, what this video does is read through the text on the side, but I just kind of find it, kind of interesting the way it's put together. But I really like how it's to the point. So we'll let it roll, and we'll stop after the first paragraph and make a few comments. All right, so there's a good place to stop on that. I really think that first paragraph definitely says a lot, and I like the fact that it's expanding. And when I show the website that I looked through here too, it's really interesting how it's expanded. But definitely the core would be the good old golden rule days, reading and writing arithmetic is definitely the core um, of literacy. And but now we're starting to see, especially in developing countries, in that it's definitely to be literate, right? You need to expand upon that. There's so many different kinds going out, and it's a really good place to start. So let's just take another listen to what our friend here has to say. Okay, another good place to stop there. So again, I think the last word is what it's all about is comprehension. Is are we comprehending, the topic that we're doing? Now, obviously you need to have, be able to decode and figure things out. But I like the way that, it just says these are the underpinnings and we work on this through our entire life. And that's why, we need to understand what literacy is and then how it expands for sure. But definitely like the progression of skills because we continue to get literate more and more through our life, and there's obviously a wide range of literacies as we progress. So let's take a look at the next, listen to the next one. Oops. Sorry. All right, there's a good place to stop too. It's interesting too that it's just kind of going to printed material. Definitely, from what we know now, there's a lot of digital material out there that still requires the same type of skills, and that's something we've been looking out through our entire class and trying to get more literate for sure, and understanding how that affects people, and how we understand things. And it's interesting that the ability to understand this, right, is to become illiterate. I never heard of the other word before, analphabetism, which is a mouthful for me. But again, too, I think you can have literacy in certain areas, but definitely be illiterate in other areas. And I do think we need to find a balance. And that was something that was definitely shared, by a lot of the blogs I read from a lot of other people in our class. All right, let's finish this video up.
Scientific and cultural organization UNESCO defines literacy as the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials associated with varied contexts. Literacy involves the continuum of learning and enabling individuals to achieve their goals, to develop their knowledge and potential, and to participate fully in their community and wider society.
All right. So again, hopefully you saw the switch because I wanted to make sure everybody could read that too if they're following along that way as well. Um, but it's you're able to, like, I like that, identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, compute, right? And that's what we're trying to do. It's just kind of internalizing, processing, and then externalizing it in a variety of ways is what it is to be literate. And again, I like the last point there. When you have literacy, you can set goals because you know what you're setting goals for. And you develop, right? So it's a lifelong learning thing for sure. And also, it allows us to fully participate in wider society and exchange ideas with it. So that's why literacy is so important. Um, See what else she has to say as we say goodbye to this cool video. And that's it. All right. The end. All right. So I will definitely put that link inside. But as I did some research, I also came across the top 10 literacies in education today, which I thought, wow, that's really interesting just to go right into the education. So I like the first part right off the bat that says literacy is complex. All right. So again, there it is. I know growing up too, and we still do it. We still emphasize reading, writing, arithmetic, right? The three R's. Um, and that's the basis for a lot of the things. And I do believe it's a strong foundation, and you need all three of those. But I definitely think that there are more literacies involved that we need to be literate at and have a balance at. And what I really like here, and these are all the ways that they have it, the 10 that go in, but I really like the infographic, and that's what I just kind of want to touch through and walk through on that, uh, because I think it definitely has some valuable resource, and I'll just put my picture up in the top corner so you can read along. When you take a look at this, right, first of all, digital literacy, and that's I think something we were talking about in class a lot. Digital devices have permeated every corner of our lives. A well-rounded education must now include practical instruction and use of these tools, right? So yeah, we have to know how to use this. Like these aren't going away, right? And we have to understand how to be digitally literate. And it's interesting, even though we've had this talk about in class about digital natives versus digital immigrants. I really do like to debunk that a lot. I think depending where you're at, it doesn't really matter if you've had it before or have had it all your life or came in somewhere. People need to be digital literacy, and it just doesn't happen. It definitely just needs to be nurtured and brought to that. And we do need to have a grasp on these tools to move forward, especially the way society is going today. And one that we're concentrating a lot on now is media literacy. So I really like the fact that a media literate person can adapt to new communication formats and can choose the most effective mode of communication in any given situation. So I don't know, one that we're concentrating a lot on is definitely social media and how that gets played. Like I really liked looking at, for example, Nancy's um, video for this week, and she was talking about how do we look at social media, and do we understand that like there's algorithms involved or artificial intelligence, that are happening, and how does that affect how we're literate and what we're seeing and thinking that. So, I like that most effective mode of communication. Is definitely really part of media literacy, and I'm looking forward to hearing some more of that in our conversation in our class. So that's definitely a topic I'm doing for my major project as well. And the next is visual literacy, the ability to comprehend and to create videos, photos, infographics, and other visuals has become essential to our as our attention spans continue to shrink. So we want the skinny right there and there, easy to see. Even like this infographic we have here, it's easy to make sense. There's visuals. We respond, to that quite a bit. So how do you pick these up? How do you comprehend them? How do you do that? Who made them, right? What are the colors even used? All those different things come into, as a visual presentation. A lot of us are, visual learners, and things like infographics and the videos and that. And it goes with our class too, even thinking about something like deep fakes. Can we pick things out, see things and understand that they can be manipulated and have that literacy available? Next one is definitely data literacy, whether empowering students and parents to analyze achievement metrics or the building skills of teachers and administration. Data literacy could lead to a sea change in education. So I know this is something that's near and dear to my heart too, especially with the amount of formative assessment I try to do. I really try to look at the data to see where students are at, so I can either use that data to teach as a and globally, like in the whole entire class, or individually as one student needs it, depending on the data. So I think the data is not necessarily grades anymore. It's figuring out where, using that data to figure out how to help each individual student out and doing that. So, being able to have students be able to read data and figuring things out, and parents, is really important. I just actually was doing a unit on graphing and stuff, and the importance of understanding how data can be manipulated, whether it's just a simple thing of changing the scale on an axis to make it look like it's spread out or tight together. Realizing that data gets used, the same data can be used to tell a pro or a con. So you really have to be literate at that. Game literacy, and this is something I'm getting more and more into. I like to use video games, even in my classroom with the Minecraft. And I think definitely video games are linked to higher scores in math, reading, and science. And I think gamification is also on the rise, and students with this influence level up faster. Even seeing it in my own kids and just seeing how, with their on games and stuff, and just hearing the conversations they're having with others, whether it's strategy or trying to figure out what's the best way to do things or the values on different characters and all that. I see a lot of literacy with that and strategy and, working together on that. So I definitely think this is something I would like to learn more about myself, and I definitely, delve more into it. But I think there's something to be said for having game literacy, and if we could harness that power, I think we could do a lot of good for students for sure. Again, this is one that I actually saw a poster once that said, if you're not physically literate, you're illiterate, right? You're missing out, and that's important, definitely, of knowing health and financial. These two go hand in hand. Uh, you know, if you look after your health and you can stay that you're able to work and you don't have the medical bills and all that, well, then you'll have a chance to make more money and as such. And if you have more money, you can buy, things like fruit and vegetables a lot easier, some of the higher costing food, and also you can spend money on like working out and that type of thing. So I definitely think that these have a huge impact, and I think that our schools definitely fall short in these two literacies that are tied hand in hand for sure. And the next one, again, and this is an important one, and I know I've tried in my class to do a lot of things with that. Civic and ethical literacy. Do you understand how the government's working? Your duties as a citizen, and what citizenship is, right? And just to understand that there's conflicting values, and that you need fluencies for future leaders. You have to be able to understand how ethical something can be, and to make the right decisions. And that takes literacy. Like you have to practice that. It just isn't something that falls on your lap. Number 8 is news literacy, and this kind of goes with media literacy as well. I know, and I can't remember one of our. It might have been Nancy again that, and I really like to point that she was making about, our parents used to watch news, and the news at the time was kind of gospel truth. And now, with some of the videos and things and how news travels, through social media and all that. Now, do we actually know what news we're getting? Are we having news literacy? Can we? And this is the whole thing, even with tonight, with fake news and that. Can we just kind of go and understand and distinguish between fact and fiction? It's not as easy as it used to be. There's so much information coming down the pike. Are we literate in that way? Um, and that's very important to help students figure that out. And I really don't think we do a very good job of helping students out in this case. And it's definitely one of my goals to definitely be better at that. Again, another one that's near and dear to my heart. I really think this one's huge. Coding and computational literacy. The ability to dream up a solution is as valuable as the ability to code it. Not every kid will be a programmer, but problem solving is a universal skill. And I definitely have seen in a lot of the, it says like top 10 job attributes in the future. I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of articles on that. Problem solving is probably one of the top three, if not top one, in many that I've seen. And I definitely believe that, being able to think in that certain way is a really important skill for students. I also know that in here, failing is accepted and it's celebrated. And kids will go through that and they can really get that growth mind concept in this as well. And I think that coding is definitely something we should be integrating more into math classes. They could even help kids figure out, how to do even better at math because they start to get that step by step. But you can see right away if your program's working or not. Go back and tweak it, and I think that definitely helps the learning process. But again, too, I think we need to become more producers than consumers. And I think that being able to have the literacy in coding and computational thinking is huge. And the last one it has on here, and this is the one I still hammered home, coming full circle on this, right? Even with the video that we watched, no matter how far we stretch the definition of literacy, the skills of reading, writing, and the meaning are still the building blocks of this entire list. And I would add also in there too, our math and arithmetic thinking as well. We still need to do that to base the other literacies on, but we have to not just always concentrate and close ourselves off into this to this literacy. And there's so many. One that wasn't on here, well, it kind of was with the health, but definitely physical literacy, as I think, is something that we definitely need all to concentrate on as too. But I love this site. I love this top 10 list. I hope my vlog made sense. These are two really interesting ones. The video kind of set things up what literacy is, and I definitely like this infographic and the way it was set up. And I hope to share that with you all is a good thing. And if you have any questions, please put something in the comment box. Let me know what you think. And I appreciate you watching and listening to my vlog. All right. Thank you so much.